Hey everyone, Scribbler Johnny checking in. Before we continue along with Princess of Crows, getting into chapter 3, I just want to check in, as I said. Quick reminder, we are dealing with various supernatural beings, and they are not human. Their values and their morals are inhuman. This is um, to say sometimes this story gets messed up and characters do messed up things. And so, if it wasn't already clear, we are going to be dealing with mature subject matter and not just in terms of things like sexuality. We're going to deal with things like trauma, PTSD, and violence and questions about consent and questions about freedom and vengeance and gray and questionable ethics will come into play. Now, not all of those things happen in this chapter, but in this novel. And this is my longest novel to date, actually, because while I was writing it, as I've said, I got so inside my head I started to hate the story and I quit and abandoned it. And when I started it up again because I just couldn't let it go, it ended up being significantly longer than any other manuscript I had written up to that point because it turned out there was so much I wanted to say and so many things that these characters were doing in my imagination. And so when we do finally get to the skip, I'll call it, I'll give you some forewarning, and it might even be two separate chapters where the first version of the story ended and where the continuation begins. That might just be tidier. But anyway, um, we are going to continue as Mike explores his relationships with the women in Kurama's household. Princess of Crows, Chapter 3 by Scribbler Johnny. Mike didn't want to give it, though. He had an idea strike him. He climbed up to be eye to eye with Fushin. He kissed her, mindful of her teeth, and then said, I will never reject you. You belong with me. I need you. And he recited what he decided to call the Love Catechism. Putting his arms around her, he caressed the arm of the storm goddess, and she curled up small, so he attempted to cradle the larger woman. Her horn butted against his shoulder, and tears fell freely down her bestial face. Mike, she sobbed, how did you know I needed that? I didn't know. I hoped it would help you. I sort of had this idea that your jokes and your aggressive sexuality were a means to get certain emotional needs met. So I tried to address you on emotional terms. Mike, she said and sniffled. Let's make a demigod. I love you so much right now, and I love our relationship, so I want a baby. I haven't had one in a few generations, and I'm ashamed to admit that that one wasn't consensual. Whoa, Mike said. Babies are a big deal, and I am not ready for that. Shh, Mike. We'll have to send them off for tutoring at the Celestial Academy. The baby can't be raised here either. We're not Greek, after all. They go live in the celestial court, and then after they get trained on how to handle their powers, then they can come visit us on Earth. Oh, can you imagine? Look at the shenanigans Heracles got up to, she said. Mike pondered this. So, have a baby. Do not raise or teach the baby. Do not watch them grow without frequent trips to the celestial courts. In what way is it parenthood? The tidiest sort. I want to unleash the combo of you and me on the world, baby. Imagine you, the mate of Fushin. But Fushin, the point of parenthood is love and nurturing the next generation. For mortals, yeah, but I'm a goddess. For me, having a baby is an act of creation. Our child could have all sorts of power, like Aeneas or Theseus. My strength, your kind heart. Fushin, you talk as if we could get you pregnant the very next time we had sex, Mike said. Yeah, because I'm a goddess, I have children when I want, not based on your mortal biological cycles. That made a kind of sense. What will we name them? Victor. It means he's going to win. Or how about Ashtoreth, if a girl? There's already a goddess named Ashtoreth. Yeah, but isn't she dead? Fushin thought. Yeah, she is. Ashtoreth it is. And she kissed him. Now give it to me, Mike. I want your baby. She let out a growl, and then used her magic to give him the boner-matic. She was very convincing and persuasive on the new demigod topic. And Mike was revitalized in time for breakfast, and later, his training. Fushin saw to it. Hildy followed Mike and Susa to the rooftop, which contained a magical door to Kurama's mountain, Tengu Mountain. Mike, did I ruin it last night? Hildy asked before they left. No, Hildy. Tonight, go get your gloves. I'll get gloves and a fleshlight. It'll be the best, she promised. Susa pointed to the door. Your dick is not my concern, Marshal. Get moving so I can make a warrior out of you. Mike jogged through. Ashtoreth, how long will you keep up that charade? It's not a charade. I truly love him. My name is Hildy. Susa let out a croak, and he bowed before following Mike through the door, and Hildy closed it behind them. Geez, cryptic talk like that would make someone think that I was the goddess in disguise. She's dead. Let her rest in peace. Hildy's a cuter name anyhow. She looked over at where Whisper had been hiding and whispering the entire time, and she walked away without saying more. Hildy straightened her robe as she went and began to plan her night's activities. She'd have to talk to Whisper again and get her help. And she would define terms. And she would need to find the right sleeve for that fleshlight. Are you cold, Mike? Susa asked. Mike nodded. We'll soon warm you up. Get you inured to the elevation, too. For you, my boy, this will take a year. Back at home, a day. You'll be born again hard, Susa declared. What, seriously? That sounds like a bad cartoon. Do all the work off screen or something, and then poof, stronger hero. Well, we have to overcome your mortal limits and or work with them, so magic is a necessity. Hence why we had to come to Tengu Mountain, here in Kobe. To begin with, Mike was put to work just exercising. He had to get into better shape before learning how to fight like a Tengu. which involved attacking from the higher point whenever possible, surprising the enemy, and performing evasions rather than blocks whenever possible. Susa said Mike had no chance to get good at magic, but there was no other way to describe the feats that he was capable of by the end. Maybe eating yokai food did something, like eating fairyland food in stories. You are now no longer helpless, Susa declared. Once we get you a sword, you'll be worthy to protect Kurama. I have this one, Mike protested, holding up the weapon he had been training with. No, that's the dojo's sword. You will have one made for you. Mike pondered this. I have an idea. Everybody knows about Tengu swordsmiths and Tengu fighting with katanas, he said. Susa nodded. I want something different. Mix it up. I'll study weapons catalogs and make a choice. Susa replied, You're thinking tricky, like a Tengu. I accept your plan, student. Thank you for saying I think like a Tengu. Susa croaked a laugh. One time, Mike. One time you thought like a Tengu. It was bound to happen after a year. Susa opened the door for them, and Mike returned, harder, leaner, more alert, also beardier. The roof was deserted. Susa pointed at him and laughed. You expected a hero's welcome, didn't you, you dumb bastard? It's been a day. They haven't had time to miss you. The Tengu laughed and laughed. Mike laughed too. Laughing at everything is very Tengu. Yourself, especially. We'll see who's laughing when I fuck all your nieces, Mike countered. I would be honored, Marshal-san, Susa said with a bow. I'm so sure you probably have none, Mike said. So what if you're right? We'll get some girls drunk enough to fuck you and call them my nieces. Say it's a big honor anyway. They laughed and then went back to the apartment so Mike could shower and trim his beard to look more like himself. The cold shower didn't bother Mike in the slightest. It had to be magic. In addition to the new muscle, he had several new scars, too. To harden him further, he had endured beatings. Well, it was called training, and the strikes were measured and precise, so it wasn't the same as an actual beating, but getting hit was getting hit. Mike was combing out his beard when Lilia intruded on him in the bathroom. Oh, Mike, I did not know you were back. Look at you. Lilia closed the door and moved around him, studying the new Mike. They are going to drench their panties looking at you, Malchik. She clapped him on the back. Is it okay if I pee? Go ahead, but I thought this was the main bathroom and there was a spare, Mike replied. Oh, there is, but we never use it. Why? Mike resumed combing. Lilia was silent a moment. So women couldn't pee and talk at the same time either. Interesting. She wiped and flushed. We just never do, she said. Listen, is there a secret? You can just tell me if there's a secret, Mike insisted. No mystery, just nobody uses it, Lilia said, and then she took over combing his hair. She pulled it back into a ponytail and tied it in a black elastic. There. Almost handsome enough to make me trade back to your team, she said teasingly, and gave him a peck on the cheek. He watched her leave as he plugged in his beard trimmer. Did every man dream of winning a lesbian's heart? The impossible dream? He trimmed his beard down to a more manageable length and studied his reflection, cleaning up the edges as he went. With that finished, Mike cleaned up his mess and took one last shower to rinse. Without warning, Hildy crept in behind him and hugged him. He screamed and grabbed her to throw her, but stopped. It had to be Hildy. He calmed slowly and gave her a kiss. Oh, I've missed you so, Hildy. He even kissed her teeth, and her collarbone, and a rib. Oh, Mike, look at what they've done to you. I'm not complaining a bit, but you're kissing parts of me as if you expect meat to be there. I'm not a fleshy girl. I can just be me. I know, Hildy, I know. But I missed you so much. I want to kiss all over your bones and remember you and remind you who's your best boyfriend ever, Mike said, and then moved to let the water cascade from her bones. So cool, he said. Oh, I want a miniature fountain with a skeleton so I can watch the water run. And think of your Hildy? Of course. He finished scrubbing and turned off the water. He dried Hildy before drying himself, playing their game. She ran her fingers down his back and he shivered. He smiled with pleasure. She dried him. And then Hildy said, "Tonight, the dream is real. Whisper's going to sleep over." What did that mean? He was too excited to see everyone to think about stuff like implications. He was home. Mike kicked his dirty gi into his bedroom laundry hamper. His original workout clothes had been destroyed by his training. Mike pulled on a tank top and some basketball shorts to show off his new bod. Kurama and Fushin were busy, and they were away. Whisper was not there either. So Mike decided to relax and watch TV. Hildy dressed in a yukata and sat on Mike's lap, draping an arm around him. The fabric minimized skin-to-bone contact, and she was almost cuddly. Mike put an arm around her, and then Lilia sat beside them on the couch. He hadn't relaxed much in his past year. Kurama got home before Fushin, wearing the business suit that he had seen the day that they had sworn their bond. She took in the homey scene of her friends and her vassal, just sitting there watching TV. "I'm home. Make me a peanut butter and banana sandwich, my vassal," she said, sitting on her chair there at the table. Mike lifted Hildy and set her down on the couch at his other side before walking to the kitchen. Kurama openly admired him. "The air in Kobe agrees with you, my vassal," she said. He began spreading the beloved peanut butter on 2 slices of multigrain bread. "It does, my love. It does," he replied. And then he looked at her. "I admit I jerked off to memories of you." He finished her requested sandwich and then one for himself and took his place at her left hand at the table. She couldn't stop herself from touching him, feeling his muscles. "You haven't seen me for a year, but to me it's only been a day. Do you still love me?" He nodded. "If you can feel what I am feeling, then the truth is just believing. You're my diamond girl." She recognized the song lyrics. "I do fit right on your finger," she remarked, wagging her eyebrows suggestively as they ate their sandwiches. "Your thick finger." He ate his sandwich and drank a glass of milk. "Oh, I missed milk. Thank you for having it." "Lilia loves milk too," Kurama replied. Mike rinsed the glass and cleaned up the breadcrumbs. "My lady, report to your bed. It's time we christen it," he said. Kurama skipped to bed. "I'm going to haven't had it in a year sex," she sang. Lilia scoffed. "See you in 2 minutes." Mike walked quickly. "Shut up. Just because it's true doesn't mean you have to draw attention to it." Mike spent a lot of time on foreplay, but Kurama was frustrated. "I want the dick that misses me. Your tongue and fingers are nice, but let me feel him tremble with longing." Kurama, he misses you so much. I won't last. I don't care. Someone has to get you back in gear, and it's going to be me. Blow that pent up load all inside right now. Mike could not deny her. 2 minutes was not necessary. Kurama held him, and she would not let him pull away, savoring every shake and shudder. I don't care, she said. I put you into ecstasy, and you filled me with love like no one has before. For this moment, if no other, mine was the best pussy in the whole world. She held him and kissed him, told him she needed him, and he broke down. I was so cold and so lonely, and it was so hard. I needed you, but I needed to be stronger and faster for you, for our household, he said as tears began to flow. That's right, Mike. Our household. Your home. You're back home with us, and we love you. Yes, Kurama loves me, and I am not afraid. She finally allowed him to pull away and clean up. After cleaning his penis with a wet wipe, she held it and kissed it. Remember who loves you, my friend. Kurama, she whispered. And then she rolled onto her back and lifted her hips, holding her legs with her hands. What is this? Tengu yoga? He joked. Oh no, Mike. I'm trying to keep your seed deep inside where it belongs. Kurama's womb, she said happily. Hey, I didn't agree to get pregnant, he protested. You agreed that your body is mine, Mike. Your seed belongs in my womb when I say it does. Don't pretend you don't love it. He couldn't lie to her. He lay beside her as she held the pose. 100 years. I swear it, he whispered. I accept you for 100 more years, Mike, she said happily. Our children will probably look more like crows, like Susa, than looking like human, like you and me and Keiko. It sometimes alternates. Mike nodded. I don't mind. Name one of them Maikuru, please. Did you learn Japanese? She asked, with a smile. The hard way, he agreed. Well, if we have a son, one will be Maikuru, Michael. Can we name one Bojangles? The dancer? Yes. She slowly changed her position to lay on her side. Dinner is in 8 minutes, so hurry up and ask about Tengu babies. He kissed her on the nose. How are they born and how do they grow? He asked. I spit up their eggs and they hatch a year later. They hatch as little Tengu, able to fly and everything, but very small and needing to be taught some things. They'll be raised by the uncles, a group of bachelor Tengu who are dedicated to raising children. When will I meet them? Oh, you will never be known as their father. They are only children of the princess to prevent jealousies. But my Tengu babies. I'm a princess, Mike. It's a burden of the office. You won't be involved in their lives. It was as if they had already been born and then taken from him. He wept for the loss of his progeny. First Fushin's child, whenever that would happen, now Kurama's. Would he ever get to know real fatherhood? Dinner is in 5 minutes, Mike, she told him gently. I don't want to eat. He pulled his clothes on and went to his room. Inside, he fell onto his bed and continued to cry. Was this the price for this house, these girlfriends, to never know his own children? What was the point of living if he was denied a fundamental human experience? It was different before when he had no one and belonged to no one. But now when he could have them, he would lose them. It was so much worse. He hugged himself in misery, sobbing. Mike, dinner is in 2 minutes, Kurama squawked. I am not eating, he shouted. You will attend me, she yelled. He wiped his face clean and sat beside her, sullen. Fushin glowed with satisfaction and kissed him before sitting, a lingering kiss. Kurama smiled as if all were well. The meal looked excellent, but Mike had no appetite. He only ate the morsels that Kurama fed him from her chopsticks, smiling and kissing his cheek each time like he was a good boy. Lilia ignored his misery, talking about the upcoming bee party and the food. Fushin bragged that she would be having Mike's baby as well as Kurama's expected hatchlings whenever they would appear. The details escaped Mike's memory for both of those pregnancies under discussion, and he found he didn't care anyway. And after they began eating a dessert, Mike asked to be excused. Kurama allowed that. Did none of them care how he felt? He stopped on the way to his bedroom and went to Hildy's instead. Hildy was listening to music that might have been the pianist Yanni. She lay still on her bed. Mike closed the door. He saw pink everywhere. Pink made him think of babies. He crawled beside her and began to sob again. Hildy lay there for a while, then rolled over to embrace him. Sorry, Mike, I was meditating. Why are you crying? They want me to give them children and then take them away so that I can't love and raise them. They won't be my children at all. And they don't care that this devastates me. Hildy held him and tried to soothe him. Hildy is here. Hildy has you. Hildy loves you. I love you too, Hildy, he said. She dried his tears with the sleeve of her pink yukata. There, there, Mike. It's not the end of the world. Lots of men never have children. They get dogs, she said. I'm a cat guy, Mike laughed. Best of both worlds. I'll buy you a pet Nekojin. Would you like that? Your own cat girl? Hildy suggested. Then, if you get her pregnant, you can keep her baby and raise it and all that. Mike blinked. I'm not comfortable owning a person. Slavery is abhorrent to me, he said. It's not like that. Kidnapping and selling against their will. Think of it like a live-in whore. She willingly sells herself to live here, eat our good food, and get attention and money. Nekojin love being touched, and they love sex, and they love not having to get real jobs. It's mutually beneficial, Mike, she said cheerfully. Mike tried to look at it from her perspective, the yokai perspective. But his American indoctrination kept barging in. Freedom is important. Slavery is always bad. And prostitution isn't legal in this state, and it's cheating on your girlfriends. It's unethical to hire a servant just to get a baby, Mike declared. Well, thank you for the suggestion, but it won't work for me. If you could have my baby, would you keep them? Hildy recognized an opportunity to lie. It was a purely academic question. Mike, I have no maternal instinct. I'm an amoral construct. But if I could, and we did, I would keep it to make you happy. She made a kiss noise at him. Since you missed bath time, do you want to snuggle and stuff before bedtime? Mike hugged her and rested his head on her cheekbone. Even if I loved the baby, I would still have fathered them as a business transaction. And that isn't for me, Mike said. Whatever you decide, I will support you, Mike, Hildy replied. Are you at all comfortable? No, Mike confessed. Thank you for treating me the same as a real woman and being honest. It means so much to me. You should go and get comfy, my love. She gently pushed him out of her bed. He smiled at her before he left for his. The purple-haired pirate from that dream he'd had was sprawled on his bed, wearing a robe that failed to contain her bosom. She smiled at him, and Whisper's voice said, Welcome to your fantasy, Mike. I'll be your dream girl tonight, but flesh. Hilda sends her love. Mike shut the door hurriedly. Leave it open for her at least, Mike, she chided gently. He turned to open the door and saw Hildy was outside. Join us, Mike said, and moved to give her space. Hildy gave him a brief hug and moved to sit down at his desk. Mike closed the door. Don't worry, Mike. I'm immortal, and I can't have children. So come and me all you want, Whisper said. You understand why I'm sad about the children thing, right? Mike asked her. She sat up, one breast falling free completely from the robe. She blushed and tried to cover up. Well, I can understand that you're upset, but the reason escapes me. I mean, I never wanted to be a mother. I lived forever through a rebirth cycle, she admitted. And I've never had boobs this big before. It takes getting used to. Mike smiled. A rebirth cycle? He asked. Well, it's not quite as literal as maybe you're imagining, but if I don't get killed, I will basically never die, and, well, if I were to have children, it would take some planning, shall we say. Complicated magics that you need not concern yourself with. And then Hildy spoke to him, using the voice of the Irish pirate captain. You just lay back and close those pretty brown eyes, Mike. I'll be taking good care of you. Whisper giggled. We're going to fuck you dry, Mike, she promised in a hungry whisper. Every last drop. The pirate giggled. I'll be wanting all of it, laddie-buck. Hildy pulled on some latex gloves, and Whisper blindfolded him. This way, both of us get ours. All three of us, Hildy said in her own voice. You just call my name, all right? Whisper will not be offended. That's right. Tonight, this one is Hildy's lips and Hildy's body, Whisper replied. To begin, Whisper removed Mike's clothes and pulled his blanket free. Whisper kissed him, pressing her urethras into his chest. And she made soft sounds in her throat and removed her too small robe. I love feeling your hot skin against me, Mike. Your chest hair tickles my skin so sweet, the pirate said. And Mike was ready for love quite quickly, kissing and caressing her. That's it, love. Give me your fire, she said. And then a lubricated hand began to stroke him, and there was a certain warming sensation tingling his skin as well. I've got fire of me own, she replied in response to his gasp. She softly nibbled and bit his shoulder and gently scratched his chest. Time for me to get a real taste, she said, and she gripped him firmly. He was fully into the fantasy, not thinking which was Hildy's hands, which was Whisper's hands. or later what must have been a fleshlight held in Hildy's hands and Whisper's lips upon his mouth. He was sure that at some point there were far too many hands caressing him, and different sets of anatomy touching him at certain times. He only felt her, and sometimes in that night he paid no mind to trifling details such as how many hands she should have. Tonight he was with Hildy, and it was real. He only spoke her name. And at times Whisper cheered him on from the sidelines because she loved to watch the naughty voyeur. But neither he nor Hildy invited her to join in. Tonight was all Hildy's. At one point, he did feel Whisper's proboscis sipping his skin, but he didn't mind. She could have a little bit of whatever it was she was looking for. Eventually, Hildy removed his blindfold. "Who loves you, baby?" she asked. He kissed her skull, and then he kissed each pillowy breast. "Hildy loves me," he said, smiling. When he woke, he was aching in different parts of his body, but he woke up next to Whisper, so that was fine. She was naked. He gave her a kiss. "Ah, glad you could sleep over, sweetheart," he said. "Good morning to you, too," she said, a bit dreamily. Hildy told Whisper all about it. It was magical. "Silly, you saw it all. I heard you. You even sipped some of my fluids." "I did, didn't I?" Whisper's a silly girl. She kissed him and pressed her small body into him. "Could I have some good morning loving?" she asked. His body complained. "Sorry, no. The heart is willing, but the flesh really hurts," he replied. "Then that means Hildy fulfilled the promise. Go, Hildy!" she cheered with a very satisfied smirk. And Mike cuddled with Whisper then. "Ah, cuddling with a warm, soft woman is nice," he said. "I took the time to make a hot and fat form for you, and, you haven't fucked me in that body once, you know. Never so much as a kiss or a booby touch," she complained. "We've known each other for a matter of days, Whisper," Mike said defensively. "Well, I want that good lovin' for every body I make for you." "So then take that form, and we'll make out," Mike said. "I will." And then his arms were abruptly filled by a much plumper version of Whisper, who also looked more noticeably Japanese. He kissed her passionately. "I love my Whisper," he whispered. And then, as softly as he could, he added, "Whisper loves me, and it makes me happy." She kissed his ear. "Yes, I do. I do love you," she whispered into his ear. "And now, play with my big body. I made it specifically to please you," she demanded. Kurama entered without knocking as per usual. "Mike, you need to pick a weapon as soon as possible for my smiths to begin the designs." "Lucky for you, they already have your measurements and strength notings rated." She watched them for a bit. "So, what's Fat Whisper like?" she asked. "Well, as you can see, she went with sort of peach-colored nipples like yours, and then the undersides of her breasts are more sensitive than the upper sides," Mike said. "Well, move over and compare. I'm starting to feel a little neglected," Kurama declared, and pulled off her robe. So both of Mike's hands were kept busy, and then Mike's mind scrambled to compare the merits of both bosoms, while still also telling the truth. He was forced to admit his preference for large breasts. Kurama nodded at this. I always encourage your honesty. The point is, I know you still like my body. I do, he agreed. I love all of my women very, very much, he said, and then kissed them both. Ah, I'm pregnant, Mike. I'm so happy, she blurted. You can tell? Of course. I don't know how many yet, but 3 would be nice. She climbed to the foot of his bed and began to kiss and fondle him. Kurama, he gasped. Remember yesterday? All I had, baby. I'm recovering. She giggled. Oh, yeah. I took good care of you. You knocked me up. And Hildy took her share, too, Whisper added. Oh, of course, a wet dream. That's okay, Mike. Later. Well, I'll be happy to start looking at weapon catalogs soon, Kurama, Mike said, changing the subject. Good. I'll bring them to you after breakfast, which is in 10 minutes, she replied, and put her robe back on. Come along, sexy fat Whisper. Mike needs to get ready. Yes, mistress, Whisper said. She magicked her robe on. You think this ship is sexy enough, don't you? She asked. Yes, Whisper. And then he growled playfully and took a swipe at her. She she squeaked and skipped away, resuming her usual form with a fully human face and compound eyes and her wings and all. Mike remembered her saying something about butterfly love dust, but then quickly put on some clothes for casual comfort. Hildy slipped in while his back was turned, and she said, You rocked my world, Mike. Did I, baby? He asked, pulling on some socks. Oh, yeah. Didn't you hear me scream? Didn't you feel how hot you made me? I know I rocked your world, too. You did, Hildy. You really did. She hugged him from behind, resting her skull on his back. Listen, you're due a nightmare tonight, and I won't take it easy on you, she said. I understand. You still love me? She asked. Everyone has a job to do, he said with a grin. Wishing things were different won't change anything. She nodded at his sigh. That's true. Is cuddling with Whisper nice because she's soft and squishy? Yes, I'm built for squishy cuddle partners, he admitted. You look good, Mike. I'm glad you like. She returned to her room, and Mike sat down at his chair at the table. Whisper was sitting at Kurama's right side, as usual. The breakfast was Japanese-style omelets. Why is Whisper in the place of honor? Mike asked. Mike, silly and backward Westerner. You are. Her left is where her sword sits, Whisper said behind her hand. Kurama nodded. And a fine sword you are, she said softly. I agree, Fushin agreed. Lilia smiled at them. Don't make me regret my life choices, girls. Mike laughed. Okay, you really aren't missing out. I'm not all that. He lies, Fushin declared. I would know. I give it to everybody. Lilia blushed then and hurried to finish her meal. What's got into her? He asked as she hurried to her bedroom. Kurama shrugged. Probably has an appointment, she said. Or maybe she wants some Mike for herself, too, Fushin said, licking her lips. No, Mike said. Don't tease. She's a lesbian, and that's how she is. Fushin caressed her breasts at him. She wasn't always a lesbian, Mike. Some are born, some are converts. She converted. So I'm not trying to fill up false hopes or anything, but she might want an excuse to go back to Team Penis. Mike shivered. But icicle nipples, he said. And then the Rusalka re-entered wearing a business suit with pants. "Oh, we're talking about Lilia," she said. "I love Lilia. What are we talking about?" She leaned on the table, and Mike looked into her eyes. "Lilia, we were talking about whether you might decide to give heterosexuality or bisexuality a try." She smiled. "Mike, I'm flattered, but those are just jokes." "Remember your mantra for bath time?" she replied. "I practiced it, and what I call the love catechism, during my training." Mike replied, "Good. I would hate to lose a good friend like you," she said, and then she hurried out the door. "Listen, I know what you heard and saw, Mike, but her heart was drumming. Her blood was hot," Fushin declared. "Well, we will not force the issue," Mike said. "If she decides to go that route, it will be her decision. I've got my hands full anyway." Later, Mike studied the weapons catalog, and Kurama sat on his lap, which upset Hildy. "Sitting on his lap is my thing," Hildy complained. "His body belongs to me, and I allow you and other women to have access to it," Kurama countered. Mike said, "I own my body, and nobody has any claims on exclusive things from me, or something." And then he looked back at the catalog and his eyes widened. "That's it. The anti-sword. The complete opposite of a Tengu sword. And the way to throw everyone off balance." "What?" Hildy asked. "A sword breaker. This one, two-handed, an armor-piercing point, bludgeoning power," Mike said, pointing. "A sword breaker," Kurama said. "Very tricky. We can make a scabbard for it so it looks like a sword." She gave him a kiss. "You are almost as tricky as a Tengu." The weaponsmiths began work as soon as she sent the word. The rest of that day went smoothly as Mike wrapped his head around his new life. That night, the nightmare began as suddenly as the sex dreams had in the past. He was walking towards a dilapidated building, knowing he should stay away. The floorboards creaked as he walked in. He heard the sound of weeping. He climbed the stairs, brushing dust off of his fringed suede vest. Fringed suede vest? He looked down at his bell-bottom slacks and dingo boots. He felt his curly hair helmet and screamed, "No, I'm a 70s guy. I'm in a Scooby-Doo ripoff." And he felt his feet continue to pull him up the stairs. "I don't even have a Velma." He was getting closer to the sound of the weeping. There was no way this would end well. He walked down a hall toward a room with double doors. "Come on, Hildy, don't do this." He opened the door. Whisper was there, weeping, naked, holding her face in her hands. "Whisper? What's wrong?" he asked. She pulled her hands away in shock, and Whisper's mustache became clear. "Mike, you weren't supposed to see me like this," Whisper cried. "What is this, Whisper? Where did your boobs go?" "Mike, I'm a female impersonator, an onagata. I understand if you don't love me anymore." Mike sat down beside Whisper. "All this time, you've been a gay man shapeshifted as a woman?" "Yes, I'm sorry for deceiving you. I hoped it would never come up." "Whisper, I don't know how to feel." Whisper took Mike's hand. "I'm still Whisper. I just use magic so that I can have sex with you. Yeah, but the mustache and is your penis bigger than mine too? What a nightmare. Mike got up and he ran away. Whisper screamed, Mike, come back home. I love you. Come home. And then Mike's hand was twitching. He opened his eyes and he saw his wife, Karen, and Mina, his other wife, and each one of them were holding his hands. And Mina whispered, Come home to us, Mike. I love you. Karen said, Come on, Mike. I belong in your arms and you belong to me. Mike stopped twitching, though. His eyes shut once more, and Mina started to cry. Her eyes looked as if they would never stop being red, Karen thought. Hey, it's good news, Whispers. Don't lose hope. He'll come back, I know it. Mina dropped Mike's hand and reached for Karen, who came to her side to hold her. Karen, what if we got everyone together to recite the promise bond? It might help him come out of it, Whispers suggested. Mike's coma had come as a surprise to everyone, and he had been down for almost 14 days. Whisper had a good idea. Mike had created that promise bond back when he and Karen were still monogamous. They left the hospital to get everyone gathered together and to talk about the plan. Francine and Millie were at home, and Lucy was at work, so the next day they were able to gather into a circle. Francine would have to leave to go to work in 18 minutes, Karen saw, but they joined hands. Karen holding one of Mike's, Mina holding his other, and together they recited the promise bond and the love catechism. And Mike's eyes fluttered. Welcome home, love, Millie said as they made eye contact. All right, so that's where the first original version of Princess of Crows ends, on a freaking ejector seat ending like a coward. Now, I did write some more, and I will go ahead and pick up where that left off, which was several months later. So we'll treat that little ending there as if it were a brief glimpse into the other world, where we had hints of there being another Mike with another family and other worlds quite like that one. So the time skip has occurred, and Mike's Swordbreaker has been completed. Mike studied his weapon, his Swordbreaker. Imagine if a flanged mace and a sword had a love child. The flanges ran the length of the business end and came to a point that was capable of piercing many kinds of armor. He held it two-handed and swung it in a few experimental arcs, stopping at an invisible point to test his control and its weight. It will do, he said simply, but inside he felt like he had found his one weapon. This was Excalibur. This was Murasame. This was the grass-cutting sword. If a sword was not broken when he struck, it would be bent to uselessness, he was certain. He held the sword aloft. Hear me. I am Michael Marshall, and this is Regicide, Slayer of Kings. Defend my people, Regicide. That is your purpose. Crush all who seek to harm them. That is your purpose. Be my strength. That is your purpose, Reggie sighed. Reciting this, he kissed his weapon and sheathed it. Kurama and Whisper clapped. He couldn't be sure, but he thought that Kurama looked much less gaunt. She kissed him. My guardian, Mike, how pleased I am. Do you still love me? She whispered. He knew that that meant, I love you. He told her that he did, and asked if she still loved him. Yes, Mike, yes, 1,000 years of yes, she proclaimed. She didn't do subtle or normal girlfriend stuff. Mike was settling into his role as her servant protector consort. He was deciding how best to raise his grievances as well. Festivus wasn't far away, and that would be a nice time, since the airing of grievances was a part of the festivities. And a world away, Mike Jackson was once again unresponsive, though his wife and closest friends had gathered in the hospital room to try and pull him out of his coma. Dr. Singh was baffled. It's as if he went away, leaving his body behind, Dr. Singh told Karen. She nodded, and she kissed each of Mike's fingertips in the way that she had since they were still dating. For her it was goodbye. The family of friends left the hospital room, quiet but for Mila sniffing her tears away. Back at home, Karen played with Mr. Bojangles, who enjoyed batting at the black ribbon that she dangled until he didn't want to play anymore and bit her softly before running away. Karen cursed. You fat-ass cat bastard. Bojangles knew Mike was gone. He wanted Mike to rub his ribs and sing the Mr. Bojangles song. But Mike was not home. Bojangles wished Karen would bring him home. He hid under Mike's desk and purred himself to sleep. Karen pulled off her black sweater and poured a glass of sake from her crow skull-shaped decanter. It was just glass, but Mike had bought it for her, so it was precious, precious as crystal. Whatever I did, I'm sorry, Mike, she said to the emptiness. Please come home. And a world away, Mike felt a pull, but he could not identify it. Whisper held his hand silently, her faceted eyes sparkling. Mike, I'm sorry, she said. Please come home. What? We're just on the roof, he replied. Whatever I did, I'm sorry, Kurama said, and she kissed his fingertips. Mike blinked in confusion. What's happening? He asked. Kurama smiled lovingly. Mike, you are exceeding my expectations. As a servant, as a lover, as a student, I want to test you. Test me, he replied flatly. The two women leaped backward, their yukatas fluttering, and took fighting stances, holding invisible weapons. Don't hold back now. I am far deadlier than you, Kurama called. Kick his ass, Whisper. Whisper giggled like a lunatic and was on him in what looked like 2 steps, swinging her arm. He heard the rattle of a chain and he ducked, drawing regicide. A chain is the enemy of a sword, he thought, but Whisper was already flashing a breast at him with a smirk, and then she kicked him in the stomach. He fell back, rolling with it, but he almost vomited all the same. He was up again, weapon ready, struggling to breathe. Kurama swung again. There is no chain, he yelled, and stared into her insectoid eyes. Whisper laughed as her chain wrapped around Regicide. She pulled him toward her and grappled him. No chain indeed, she teased, kissing him. No, you are in fact still standing over by Kurama, Mike insisted, closing his eyes. He no longer felt Whisper's breath on him, or the chain pulling on his sword breaker. He listened and began to step towards her with his eyes shut tight. You are a fool, Marshal. My power is much more than that, Whisper yelled, and a wind blew him off balance, and his face was covered in what must have been moths and butterflies. Ignore this, she hissed. Mike spat and began to wave Regicide in a lazy circle, channeling his will into it. He then held the swordbreaker vertical and shouted, breaking the spell. The illusions vanished. He's 2 for 2, Whisper, Kurama said. I know, Princess, Whisper hissed irritably. You yelled, Whisper, Mike added. I knew I was winning when you broke your control. Mike advanced on her. Whisper grimaced, regaining her composure. But then Mike had an idea. Whisper, he said, as softly as he could manage, and then he ran for her. Whisper stepped aside and twirled, her butterfly-patterned yukata flapping. She held her fan and she flicked it at him. Mike deflected it, but Whisper was soon on him, and she was kissing him with quiet intensity. Let me win, she pleaded into his ear, kissing his earlobe. And then Mike dropped his swordbreaker and held her. Whisper wins, Kurama applauded. Whisper squeezed him gratefully. What was this about? She pulled away, and a breeze blew her fan back into her hand, and it was soon covering her face. Mike mussed my makeup, my lady, Whisper complained softly. Apologize, Mike. You allowed your passions to get the better of you. Mike apologized and retrieved Regicide. Whisper's eyes, which were human now, above her fan, promised passion of her own. Mike swallowed, remembering his nightmare. The one in which Whisper revealed herself to be a man taking the shape of a woman with magic. Even had a bigger penis than he did. Still, holding her in his arms, felt the same as always. And her lips were still sweet, nightmare or no. And he would have to talk to Hildy about that later, playing on his masculine insecurities. It was a very blunt and indelicate horror. He expected more skill from a millennia-experienced nightmare craftswoman. Kurama smiled. You did well, Mike, but you're a century behind me if my maid can defeat you. Yes, my beloved, Mike said contrite. They held his hands and led him back to Kurama's apartment. Once inside, Kurama declared, Mike has improved. His year on Tengu Mountain was not wasted. Hildy applauded, her finger bones clicking against each other. I'm proud of you, Mike, Hildy declared. As always, her skull revealed no emotion, but her voice was full of feeling. Mike hung his weapon on a rack above the mantel. Now he was truly part of the household. Kurama held onto his arm, and she just followed him around as he walked. He went to his bedroom and turned his desk chair to face the bed and sat upon it. She sat on his lap, and she weighed almost nothing. So, as yokai royalty, are you immortal? Mike asked. Mostly, yes. I can be killed, and I do have a limit to my lifespan, but I will be several hundred years old when I die of age. You will be long dead before then, my love, she said, as if it would reassure him. It didn't. As much as I love you, I can only be one of many. You will forget me, Mike said, and he looked away from her. I won't lie about that. You are one of many, but you are unique. I will be slow to forget you. That's more than any human woman can say. I meant it when I asked for 100 years, Mike. You will live longer than your span to fulfill that bond, our contract. And she kissed his ear. The feather garland in her hair tickled his hair. I let Whisper win, he said, changing the subject. He was not ready to talk about living over 100 years, much less being a servant the whole time, even as part of Kurama's household with Whisper, Lilia, Fushin, and Hilda. He had grown to love them all, for all of their flaws and their quirks, and the physical differences from mortal women. Speaking of Lilia, she shouted from the bathroom, "I know Mike's back because I'm huge all of a sudden. Welcome back again, buddy." Mike thanked her loudly. Kurama nuzzled him with her beak-like nose. "Please don't be angry, Mike. I just want you to know that the contract would benefit you in ways our 1-year contract cannot." Mike nodded. "I'll consider. I will not decide until our current contract is fulfilled or voided." Kurama made a fist and lightly punched his chest with a hammer-like blow. "No, we will not discuss voiding our contract. That is outside of possibility and unacceptable," she said. She then looked up. "Fushin's here and wants to see you." Kurama kissed him possessively and left, framing his cheek with her hand, lingering on her exit, and the pleasant smell of pine left behind. Her scent. And then she was gone. Fushin stood outside his door, her pointy lower teeth tusking out and her claws plainly showing. She was wearing her uniform, a short sleeveless robe with fishnet covering her impressive cleavage and cloth wrappings covering her hands and feet. "Michael," she said, and tears began to pour down her cheeks. She wept in silence outside his bedroom for a while. He invited her in, and she closed the door behind her, and then knelt with her arms around his waist, and cried in earnest. "We had to do a monsoon in Malaysia. Mudslides killed a lot of animals and destroyed property. Crops ruined. Sometimes I hate my job." Mike had only seen Fushin happy in her work before, but he understood. He held her until the emotional storm calmed. "You're my confidant, Mike. I can trust you. I have your heart. I know your heart," the storm goddess said. She climbed to sit on his bed. We haven't done it on your bed yet, have we?" she asked, her tusks and her claws retreating and her cuter aspect asserting itself. Mike shook his head. "We must correct this, you realize. You love Kami pussy, right? Literally divine," she asked with a smile. "Fushin, you're trying to fuck the pain away again, and we know that that doesn't really work," Mike said, looking into her eyes. "I am not. I just want to christen your bed, sanctify it with my holy water, show you you are just as much mine as anyone's, love you after your return, and bind you here so that you don't go away again." Her lip trembled. "You may not realize it, but you almost left us. I felt it." Mike stared. "You almost went to another world, and we would seem to be only a dream, and good puck a liar call and whatever." Mike tilted his head to the side. "Midsummer Night's Dream? Another world?" he asked, totally at a loss. "I can't tell you about it," she replied, miserable. "Just believe that I want you to stay. With us. With me." "Fushin, I have strong feelings for you," Mike said. "Good. I also for you." She had begun talking rapidly. "Just, you like it with us, right?" "Yes, I have my grievances, but you will be able to address them and be happy," Mike replied. Fushin nodded. "Does this mean no sex today?" she asked brightly. Mike smiled. "Next time you want it, we'll christen my bed properly, but not today." Fushin muttered something, and then she stood up. What was that? He asked. I said I need to change out of my work clothes, Fushin snapped, heading for the door. Mike caught her wrist. Unhand me, she shouted, but she did not pull away or do anything to stop him. Tell me the truth, Mike said, pressing the issue. I said I bet Hildy will get it tonight, she growled. Happy? Mike pulled her into his arms. She resisted at first, but then held him eagerly. None for Hildy either. She gave me too horrible a nightmare. He kissed her tenderly, and Fushin's resentment faded. The fierce thunder drummer held him and returned his kisses. Naughty Hildy. She almost ejected you with that bad dream, she said. You know, I remember something. My wife, Karen, he said. No, not your wife. The other world's Mike's wife. You don't belong there with her. You belong with me. She nipped his bottom lip in that way that made him want her, but he resisted her wiles. Fushin, if that world has a Mike, how can I go there? Mike asked, holding her back. I don't want to say. Before you couldn't, now you don't want to. She sighed. Her breath reeked of ozone. It's both. Some things I'm allowed to say, none of them I want to say, okay? In that other world there's no magic, so I'm not a goddess. I'm a mortal woman. A bodybuilder, but mortal. And you aren't mine either. Hers, I mean. You're just friends. I like our world much better, don't you? Mike kissed Fushin again. I do like having the love of a kami, my own goddess. She pulled away then. Remember that. Hold on to it, she admonished, and then left, leaving his door open. It was then Lilia walked over to his doorway. Her blonde hair was in a towel, but she was otherwise bare. Should I have stayed in the tub for you? She asked. Not this time, Lilia, he shook his head. I'll bathe you tomorrow, my friend, I promise. Every bath was a fresh chance to die from the Rusalka's cursed nature, but their friendship was forged in fire, and Mike was confident he would continue to resist the magic. Lilia smiled. Mike, I'll introduce you properly to my new girlfriend tomorrow. She wants to meet you. She's a flower nymph. Mike smiled. So she knows about our arrangement? Lilia nodded. She's part of the club, so to speak, and I don't have to hide anything. Her name is Echo. And then Lilia held out her arms, and Mike hugged his friend for what might have even been the first time as they embraced, crossing his doorway. Her body was soft and cold. She's special, she said. I hope you're happy, he replied, and then he gave her a parting squeeze. Lilia left to brush her hair, and Kurama returned wearing workout clothes, shorts and a midriff-bearing top, golden-colored. He could still see her ribs, though she was beginning to fill in. I want you to dance with me, Kurama said, and then she swiped at his dog tags. He saw she was wearing the ring he had given her. He was wearing his own workout clothes still, so he took her hand and followed her lead to the dojo. There they removed their slippers and walked barefoot onto the tatami mat floor. She waved, and Two of Hearts by Stacy Q began to play. They danced slowly, in contrast with the driving beat of the up-tempo dance song. She smiled into his eyes when he looked down at her. She was a crow still, and would never win a beauty pageant. But she was sweet, and she had given him a new life, and he loved her. Kurama's smile was warm and promised appreciation, which also needed work, but it was an improvement. Do you appreciate me? He asked. More every day, my vassal. Do you still love me? She responded. You know I do, mountain goddess of Kobe. You vanquished the mountain goddess of Kobe. You were too much a gentleman to claim the victory, she insisted. For a barbarian, you have a grasp of how to allow an opponent to save face. I encourage you to continue to improve. And they danced on to the music of their hearts. And she was not a princess, he her servant. They were two lovers, full of life and each other. Neither of them noticed Hildy watching them, clad in a short Greek dress of ancient make, with a garland of dandelions atop her skull. Hildy stood still as a statue, watching them silently. Kurama allowed Mike a rest. They saw her then. Mike smiled. You look nice, Hildy. There a special occasion? She shook her head. I just wanted to dance, Hildy said. Shit, Kurama said. I don't believe that. She faced the skeleton and stepped close to her. Mike realized then that Hildy was taller than Kurama. Most people were. Hildy shrugged. Fine. I wanted to dance with Mike. In that get-up? Kurama demanded. Hildy nodded. You adore modern fashion. Why this old-fashioned outfit? Mike asked. Hildy turned side to side, shy all of a sudden. I wanted to ask you again about marrying me, Hildy said. Kurama went red. Michael, I forbid you to marry Hilda. I will not consent to this, she shrieked. You are mine! I will share, but not that! Never that! Only Kurama can be your bride! She whirled to Mike, trembling in suppressed outrage. Mine, Mike! You are mine! Mine! You sound like a child, princess, Hildy chided. Mike can marry whom he chooses. Mike sat down. Hildy, I can see myself married to you, but I'm not sure it's best. You were never alive. Kurama, at least, is living and will one day die. But you will continue long after I'm dead. And we have fundamental lacks in common experiences. You've never been injured, sick, or hungry, or cold. You've never had a nightmare. You are a nightmare, he said. Hildy threw her garland to the floor. I thought you were different. I thought you really loved me. Seems I'm a fool, she said, and she ran out of the dojo, her bones clicking as she went. Kurama smiled. You made the right choice, Mike. I'll make you deliriously happy for 100 years. And then she started to crawl toward him, making chirruping noises and smiling lasciviously. My Mike, I adore making love to you, you know? And then she pushed him down for a kiss. He turned his face away. Hildy is hurting. I need to talk to her. Kurama bit his cheek hard enough to bleed, and she held on, growling. Mike shouted in shock and despair and pain. He put his hands to her chest to push her away. She released his face. Ah, that's what I want. Good boy. Now kiss your blood off of my lips, she ordered angrily. And now he really pushed her. You need to calm down. Also, what the hell? You bit me. I'm bleeding. Mike rolled away from his princess in a defensive pose and then ran out of the dojo. Mike, come back here. I will punish you, Kurama ordered. You belong to me, she yelled at his retreating form. She paused to admire his muscles. She really wanted him now. She wanted to break his defiance, or better yet, let him keep his defiance as they made love. She wanted to be hate-fucked, wanted the sex to be a real battle. She licked his blood from off of her lips and her chin as best as she could. "Now hear this," she shouted, magically addressing the whole household. "Mike is officially confined to his room and will not be spoken to until I release him." Mike was bodily pulled away from Hildy's door before he could knock and thrown onto his bed. His loose articles fell and rattled. His door slammed shut. He found himself able to stand, but he felt like gravity had increased. He watched as his window turned black and opaque. His lights went out. He screamed in rage. "You tyrannical bitch! I'd never agreed to this." "Oh, but you did," Whisper whispered. "She is the mistress of your body. Only your mind is free. I love you. Goodbye." "Whisper," Mike hissed. "Don't leave me," he whispered. But Whisper was gone. He was alone in the dark. Mike was livid. He cursed and shouted, "I am not a child. I did not do anything wrong. I don't deserve this." And he lost track of time in that pure darkness. Mike meditated, trying to release his anger into the cosmos, to embrace peace. He sat on his floor and leaned against his bed, his luxury bed, bought with his freedom. Mike could not claim he didn't know what he was getting into. He'd read enough stories. He knew. A weight settled on his bed with no sound, other than the mattress shifting. Mike waited. "Are you still angry?" Kurama asked. "No. Yes," he replied, forcing himself to be honest. "I heard your screaming," she said softly. "I want you angry. I want you to climb up here with me and to give me all that hate and all that love at the same time." "That's sick," Mike replied. "I won't apologize for what I am." She traced a lacy something up his chest and his neck. "Give your princess what she wants," Kurama whispered. "Let me talk to Hildy," Mike insisted. "Not until I get what I want. I own you. I'm comfortable waiting until you learn that lesson." She lay down and dropped lacy clothes onto his head. "Make me wait longer, and I'll give you refresher lessons. I want it, and I want it now. Please defy me. Fight me, hate me, and then give in to me. I will be your one and only until you give in." "I don't want to hate you, Kurama. I love you." She laughed. "But you are resentful, and you feel wronged. Soldiers fight injustice. I am a tyrant. Now, call me a bitch and take me." Mike sighed. "This goes against everything I was raised to do," he said. "I don't care about your democracy. I don't care about feminism. I'm a princess of yokai. I own you, and I gave you a command," she replied. And then she commanded him, "Stand, strip, bed, now." His body moved and he stood up. He was naked by the time he understood. You could force me any time, he said. Yes, but then that would be rape, and we don't do that. He detected it was the royal we. He ground his teeth. Permission to come aboard, Your Highness, he spat, and she laughed. Yes, that! Come to me, my vassal. Mike climbed atop his bed and into her skinny embrace. He gave her everything she wanted. Afterward, she blinked a few times before speaking. Mike, let's never do that again. As if it was a food she didn't enjoy the texture of. You'll spend the night alone, but you'll be fed, so don't worry. What about bathing and using the toilet, he asked. You have a bathroom right there, she said, and a door opened. The room inside was covered in pictures of Kurama. The toilet had a black feather seat cover. The mirror had a portrait of Kurama smiling down, wearing a Heian-era costume and very ornate makeup. The message was clear. I'm guessing the shower has photos of you too, he asked. But it wasn't really a question. No, the answer surprised him. The shower has you and I together. Soapy, clean, airborne, wet, dry. In my car. All the scenes of our love. In her way, it was an attempt at amends. Do you still love me? Mike asked her. I do, my vassal. I do. But then she was gone, and he was holding nothing. Tengu, he said. He was learning to think like a Tengu, all right. He lifted the seat in the toilet to pee, staring at a photo of his ugly beloved, laughing and dressed in a 1960s era mod skirt. Her lipstick was the color of milk chocolate. Her yellow eyes were full of joy. He wondered bitterly what her vassal in those days was like. He flushed and brushed his hair, and he saw that the mirror portrait showed her with black teeth. And what did that mean? And in one photo, she was wearing a low-cut evening gown and visible cleavage. Not big, but there they were. Her face was softer and more round in that photo as well. Her figure was fuller in every respect. She was almost beautiful. Our princess in a happier time, Whisper whispered. Love does that to her. She has gone without for some time. That is why she is so thin. Mike nodded. It made a kind of sense. What was her vassal like in those days? He had to know. He was a lot like you. Kind, brave, a protector rather than a fighter. He was very creative, imagination like an artist. Who was he? I won't say. He served faithfully and well, as you do. Why are you talking to me? He asked, turning to face her in full butterfly face. It made him jump a little. I missed you, she said simply. I wish you hadn't told that you let me win. She caressed his face with a fully human hand. I'm not mad, though. She pulled him in for a hug. Will you be punished? He asked, holding her, knowing that he loved her too. Yes, so don't tell, she whispered. She made a mostly human face to kiss him, long and lingering, and Mike closed his eyes. Secrets. Always secrets, he whispered. Yes, secrets are currency in this household. And Mike understood. He could do whatever he wanted, but getting caught was a failure that needed punishment. Forcing Kurama to punish him made her unhappy. Openly defying her forced her to punish him. He had to learn how to love secrets, like a Tengu. He could get any question answered if he used his cunning. He whispered, I have learned the lesson. Thank you for teaching me, Whisper. You are not a hopeless student for a barbarian, she smiled. He kissed her again and tickled her ribs. She collapsed, giggling, and then transformed into Kurama. How did you know? She asked, smiling. Just intuition, he replied, and then he lifted her up onto the sink to kiss her again and tickle her again. You never once left me alone. You were with me the whole time. Whisper was you in disguise, then, in the dark, Mike said. That's true. Am I satisfactory? Mike asked. Very much. I am pleased with your progress. If I love you well, will you grow boobs again? Yes. I packed that photo to show you what can be. And she blushed a little. I know you like big boobs a lot, and I haven't got those now. Mike gave her a kiss. I love my princess. I can get boobs anywhere, but I only have you right now. Your body is yours, and I adore it. She fully wrapped herself around him. I, you so much, she cried out. She bit his neck softly. Please don't make me punish you. I hate it. She leaned on him. He carried her into his bed and lay down beside her. I'll try to learn, he promised. Good, she replied, and then vanished again. Mike took a cold shower. He smiled as the water poured, thinking of Lilia, not minding that her presence made all the water cold. And he looked at a photo of himself making love to Kurama, dripping wet, both of their faces in rapture. Mike shaved after his shower and brushed his hair again, admiring how long it was now. He was really figuring things out. His bedroom light came on again, and a Tengu was setting a tray down on his desk. I don't recognize you, Mike said, tying a ribbon around his ponytail. I'm Shizu, said a female voice. Wow, an actual female Tengu in crow form, Mike marveled. Susa said you were rare. He also told me to stay away from you. Shizu cawed in laughter. Susa is my great uncle. He'd molt if he knew I was in here and you naked to boot. She kept on laughing, her beak wide open. She flicked out her black tongue. You do look a tasty morsel. I'll remember you after your reprimand is over. No thank you, Shizu, Mike said. I have plenty of girlfriends. She huffed. Don't know what you're missing. And she poofed away, leaving a pinion feather on his desk. He picked it up and set it aside, not wanting to offend her. His meal was plain rice and plain baked chicken with steamed vegetables. Reprimand, he said, and then began eating. Susa at least could have left him some soy sauce or mayo. When he was in training. But reprimand made sense. He picked up Shizu's feather. Shizu, I will owe you a favor if you give me a bottle of good teriyaki sauce, he said, hoping for magic.